All right, welcome to another episode of the Rantcast. And I've just been thinking, it was like a quasi light bulbish moment that happened an hour or two ago. And so when I got a moment, I'm like, all right, I got to record this because it's another one of those kind of freeing light bulbish moments that kind of put you in a better train of thought. This is for my people out there who are like constantly negative self-talking themselves. But it's not just as simple as that, right? Like I think there's some episodes where I've talked about that too. It's like, oh, the negative self-talk, but it's, you battle it and you don't let it get to you too much, and it goes away. It's like anything. It's like, you sit there, you're like, oh, it's a negative self-talk dialogue in the back of your mind. And then eventually it goes away if you can. And not through, if this is how you deal with it, is by dealing with those like the Iris Allen accounts or the Cynthia Clark accounts, which I've actually, first of all, I learned today that it's definitely a coordinated effort, but I don't know whether they're real people. I think it's like a bot of some kind, because I remember I laughed. I'm like, oh, Iris Allen just tweeted. And when I scrolled down a few minutes before her, Cynthia Clark had tweeted. I'm like, yeah, these people are bots, or it's one person just sitting there like firing off these tweets. And then they were also tweeting the same articles from Complex at one point. Anyway, so again, the reason why I even brought them up is because if that's what I clowned the whole like motivational quotes thing and the posts and all that. I'm like, if that's what you need, I'm not going to rehash that entire topic, but if you need that once in a while, fine. But if you can kind of get into a dialogue with self, like whatever the negative self-talk is, try and get to the voice that's like telling you the opposite. Even if you have to coax it out, even if you have to really, whatever the negative thought is, say the opposite out loud. Like literally say it out loud. Even if you're standing in public, say it out loud. Making yourself look more weird. No, but say it out loud or under your breath, or at least try and think it. But it's different when you say it. It's different when you say it. Because it's like, it's your actual voice overpowering the voice in your mind is almost more real in a lot of cases. But it's a voice you don't need to, it's the kind of voice that it's like a snake in the grass kind of a voice. Like you don't hear it or see it, I guess. You can't really see the voice, but the point I'm making is it creeps up and you don't think about it much until you realize that, oh, you've been telling yourself X negative thing. You can, or fill in the blank, fill in the blank of X. Like there's any number of things you tell yourself. But you can go a step further. Like I was thinking just, when was this? Yeah, a couple hours ago. I'm like, because I was re-listening to was it the last one? I don't even remember now, but the last rant. I'm like, wait a minute, why do I keep if I keep self-identifying as a quote-unquote someone with social anxiety, someone with introversion, which is one of those things, is like, so first of all, that little gathering thing that I didn't want to go to I ended up having, like, I've been hearing all day today, like, basically rave reviews of what these people thought of me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. And you tell yourself these, you read the scripts to yourself of who you think you are because of based on whatever your upbringing or how you came up or whatever. And then you identify as that, and it's like, but then you and again, if your personality kind of leans towards that, you will eventually develop mechanisms, or like not coping mechanisms, but you'll develop, like, if anything, something of a persona, or some kind of way of acting as if you are not as bad as bad as you are. You'll come up with a way of sort of like, portraying or displaying different characteristics, because it is, you can't be awkward really. Like you may, in your head you might be like, fuck, I don't want to go to this thing, but when you get there you're like, okay, I can't look weird, so I'm gonna at least act like a normal person. But the thing too is the more important thing that I was trying to talk about is you can't be self-identifying as these things. I don't know. I'm realizing this now. It's like, wait a minute, why am I, if I keep identifying as that, what am I going to be for 10 years identifying as a, maybe not in the realm of social anxiety, but more the introvert thing. If I keep, well, I mean, if that's what you are, that's what you are, but it's weird to just constantly be like, that's the energy that you put out or whatever. I don't know. It was, like I was saying, like a couple hours ago, I was like, maybe if I think I'm not that, I mean, you can't delude yourself, obviously, but I remember thinking, like, how many people are walking around that just tell themselves that they're bipolar or something, or whatever? Maybe that's not a good example. Maybe bipolar is, I should leave that alone. But how many people go around telling themselves they have anxiety, and then, or they have introversion or whatever, and then it's kind of it's a role, right? Like, and then that becomes a role that you fulfill in a social scenario. But like, what if you tell yourself you're I guess it's that affirmation shit that these Twitter accounts are basically these Twitter accounts are saying, I think positively, blah blah blah, affirmation. You're like, okay. So I was like, whether or not Cynthia Clark, Iris Allen, and Maria Blanding are fake or real or bots, or it's a coordinated series of accounts, the information is actually very true. You know what I mean? I don't know. At work, I am focused. Like, I guess that's what it is. Huh? If that's what it takes, like seeing that. You know what's funny? What if I'm this? I came to this. What if this is a subconscious? When like all this shit that I'm saying here is like a subconscious thing, because I've been reading, because I've been looking for things to talk about Maria Blanding and Iris Allen, quote unquote, and quote unquote Cynthia Clark. The reading of their feeds has now implanted this thing into my mind about affirmation, which is nice. It's like, hey, Twitter accounts, your works. Maybe I should tweet that to them. Like, hey, I didn't know if you guys were real. Whether you're real or not, all of your tweets worked or working or whatever. So I don't know. I'm clowning, but it's all the shit that I've just said up until this moment is basically this affirmation thing. It's this affirmation concept. It's like, stop telling yourself you're fucking, you're fucking introvert. And I'm gonna say it again. You can't delude yourself, and you know what I mean? Because I think that's another thing too. It's like the fake extrovert thing. I think that's something that people can smell, or they can sense. People are good at these kind of, like, you could, if you're in a naturally talkative mood, it's one thing. Like, people can be like, okay, this guy wants to talk today. And then like, okay, this guy isn't in the mood to talk, or whatever. Or girl, this guy or girl aren't in the mood to talk. And then suddenly they're talking, okay, they ain't quiet anymore. So, it's a natural, like, human beings are machines. You know what I mean? It's like man versus machine. You know what I mean? It's like, it's funny, we're now in the age of man versus machine. But anyway, it's like, we're now in the era of literally man versus machine. But still, it's like, I think most intelligent people, even if you're not intelligent, you pick up that people aren't machines. So there's going to be a natural spike and up and down in the quote unquote graph of life, the bar, not the bar graph. Sure, the bar graph. There's the dot graph. in the graph. You know what I mean? Like it goes up and down. There's spikes, and then there's dips, and then there's spikes, and so on. So people understand that. They understand this if they're smart. But then it's when you become like a fake, like trying to be like a fake, like extroverted person. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyway, that's okay. But like, do people fake introversion? See, this is the thing. I think one of the two personality traits, one is way easier to fake. Well, one can be faked. The other one just becomes more of a, this person is quiet. So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I think it's like it's hard to fake something that's less expressive. I don't know. Anyway, that's sorry if that little train of thought didn't go anywhere, but that was what I was thinking. I'll pick up with another topic in a minute here, or tomorrow, depending on whenever I pick up the mic again. So an interesting article that came through LinkedIn, and it's actually the only reason I stumbled across this article is because I'm trying to set up a LinkedIn account just to say that I have one. I can't even access LinkedIn because in order to sign up for a new account, I need to use a phone number, and I guess the phone number I'm trying to use is already attached to like an old account maybe. So I'm like, all right, I'll go on Facebook and hit up LinkedIn because their contact info is trash. Anyway, I try and go on Facebook to message them, and up comes an article. College may not be worth it anymore. I'm like, okay, I can already foresee where this article is going to go, but let's read it. There was another article. The original article that I was really interested in was about how in 2036, this is the U.S. Keep in mind, this is a U.S. based thing, right? So it's U.S. colleges and universities are going to be going up tuition wise by let's see, 300,000. So college tuition could nearly double by 300,000. Reports CNBC at elite schools. Okay, it's elite schools such as Stanford, Harvard, MIT. Okay, so that's 300,000 from regular schools. Elite schools like Stanford, Harvard, and MIT, the cost of an undergraduate degree could climb to almost $500,000. Public university costs are set to rise. Student loan debt tripling over the last decade. They're saying like you should start saving for college as soon as you were born, and it's kind of like it's just like, and the pyramid scheme continues. I mean, it's not entirely a pyramid scheme, but still. Let's see the comments. Oh, I gotta join LinkedIn, which is let's see if I can get into CNBC here. To get a degree at a public university, you'll need 184,000 compared to the 101,000 now. 2018. So this is Berkeley. And I got a connection there. Well, it's no longer a connection, but I won't get into that. So 2018, 224,000, 336, 400, 399,000. Let's see, MIT 261,000 this year, and then 2036, 466,000. I wanted to get into comments, but which is where the real interesting stuff is. However, of course, I can't view it because I don't have LinkedIn. But we can go back to the other one. College may not be worth it anymore. Okay, so let's see. Recent decades have brought agreement that higher education is, if not a cure, then at least a protection against underemployment and the inequality it engenders. And there's other nuances and other factors at play here, but that's kind of the general argument. So in 2012, President Barack Obama called the college degree an economic imperative that every family in America has to be able to afford. If future income was determined mainly by how much education people received, then you would assume that some higher education would be better than none. But this is often not the case. So on and so forth. The value of a college degree also varies depending on the institution bestowing it. The tiny minority of students who attend elite colleges do far better on average than those who attend non-selective ones. Disturbingly, Black and Hispanic students are significantly less likely than white students and Asian students to attend elite colleges, even when family income is controlled for. That is, students from wealthy Black and Hispanic families have a lower chance of attending an elite college than do students from middle-class white families. Captain Obvious. It's a cruel irony that a college degree is worth less to people who most need a boost. Those born poor. This revelation was made by the economists Tim Bartik and Brad Hirschbein. Using a body of data, the panel study of income dynamics, which includes 50 years of interviews with 18,000 Americans, they were able to follow the lives of children born into poor, middle class, and wealthy families. We appear to be approaching a time when, even for middle-class students, the economic benefit of a college degree will begin to dim. Since 200,000, the growth in the wage gap between high school and college graduates has slowed to a halt. 25% of college graduates now earn no more than does the average high school graduate. That's fucked up. Part of the reason is oversupply. Part of the technology, I just read that. Very short sentence. Technology increased the demand for educated workers, but that demand has been consistently outpaced by the number of people, urged on by everyone from teachers to presidents prepared to meet it. No other nation punishes the uneducated, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Why do employers demand a degree for jobs that don't require them? Because they can. What all this suggests is that the college degree premium may be really a no college degree penalty. It's not necessarily college that gives people the leverage to build a better working life. It's that it not having a degree decreases whatever leverage they might otherwise have. This distinction is more than semantic. It is a key to understanding the growth chasm between educational attainment and life prospects. For most of us, it's not our education that determines our employment trajectory, but where that education positions us in relation to others. None of this is to suggest that higher education is not desirable. I've encouraged my own children to take that path. But sorry if it seems like I have no enthusiasm, but I'm sorry. I just kind of woke up. But while we celebrate the most recent crop of college graduates, we should also acknowledge that many more Americans who will never don a cap and gown. They too deserve the chance to prove themselves worthy of good work and a good life. And these articles. This was May 16th. So the subtext in this article is basically a degree is ultimately necessary for the economic freedom and job prospects that we all are hoping for. With that, and let me separate this too. We're lucky in Canada, right? I think this is one of those things too where, we just had the strike here, right? At one of the universities. Staff want more money, yet enrollment is down. And I think this is another key kind of factor that's going on right now in the digital internet world, is that if you have the ability to learn a skill for free, and then monetize that skill immediately. And it's location independent. This is often, these articles never ever really get into that part of the discussion. The fact that the education is free now, you know what I mean? So you just had, an article saying that by 2036, you're going to have almost $500,000 tuitions for an elite school. And then there's all the various factors of, your whatever class you're in already, your middle class or upper middle class or upper class. You tend to get funneled into that kind of a educational path anyway. But I mean, when they say that people who need it the most are not valuing that education, is it because it's not necessarily because they don't value it, it's because they can get it for free? If you can go learn this, I mean, I know I'm generalizing and oversimplifying it here, but if you can learn something, even if these online courses were $100, if you could learn something for $100 versus $500,000, I know it's not the same. I know it's not the same courses and all that. But I mean, this doesn't make sense. And then you can, and this is the other factor too, the pocketing of the $400,000 and being, finding, this goes back to the financial advisor thing, right? Like having $500,000 to $1 million is great, but if you don't know how to make it work for you, this is something. This whole philosophy is something that I had to stumble into like in my late 20s. It's like, wait a minute, I have money, I can just spend it, or I can, use it in various ways to double it or triple it. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about drugs, obviously. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't snitch on myself like that, even if I did. But at the same time, it's like you have to, you're gonna go in the current job market, in the current state of everybody having a post-secondary education and many people having degrees, supply and demand, so on and so forth. You're gonna go voluntarily give up hundreds of thousands of dollars to something that is not certain for the piece of paper, and then wonder why you're in an economic state of you're economically depressed. I'm gonna pick this up in the next rant.